We all need to know our rights and thoroughly familiarize ourselves with the concept of equality, because it will help us understand both how we should be treated as Nigerians and how to treat others. In line with this, I welcome you to another edition of Know Your Rights Nigeria. I am Intamiegbe and I'll be your anchor for the show. And this is also hoping you've had a splendid week so far. Now, the goal of this program is to equip you with knowledge about your human rights enforced in Nigeria, so you get to know your boundaries and where you stand as a Nigerian, of course. On the show, there are lots of segments. We get to bring you the latest human rights news. Then we go out there, talk to Nigerians about those human rights issues they're faced with daily in their lives, bring in a human rights professional to do justice to them. We will kick off the show by going over to our news desk with the latest human rights news. Then we'll go out there to the streets and listen to what Nigerians are saying. Our guest is right here with us, and it's expected that he will respond to the questions we have concerning our topic for the week. We've got a huge package for you this week. You do not want to miss any part of it, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this short break.
This is the news on Know Your Rights Nigeria. I am Titilope Arowolo. First, the headlines. Lagos landlord beats wife to death, flees. 18.7 million naira debt. Woman on trial over attempt to jump into Lagos Lagoon. Gunmen kill police inspector in Anambra. Now the details. Residents of Solar Power Drive, Igbo Olomu in the Ikorodu area of Lagos State are in shock after a landlord in the community, Omolaja Shodipo, allegedly stabbed his wife, Titilayo, killing her. Sympathizers, friends, and family members of the mother of four trooped to their bungalow on Monday, where Titilayo laid in a pool of blood. The husband was said to have fled the scene. Community leaders reportedly alerted policemen from the Owutu division, who removed the corpse and deposited it in a mortuary. Punch correspondent who visited the scene observed residents discussing the incident. The police had locked up the building. Although most of the neighbors refused to comment on the tragedy, Punch Metro gathered that the couple had been married for over 7 years. The relationship was said to be fraught with disagreements, which usually resulted in domestic violence. A resident who did not want to be identified said the disagreements always bordered on the welfare of their 4 children. He said they came into this community some years ago after building their house. The man who was formerly dealing in telephone accessories had been jobless for some time. His wife worked with a private school after giving birth to their 4th child 2 years ago. But they were always at loggerheads, which led to the man beating up his wife. The man is short-tempered, and it appeared the frustration of his joblessness also got into him. We always heard their voices anytime they were quarreling. Last night we heard them fighting again. In the morning, we discovered that the woman had been stabbed in different parts of her body. She was lying lifelessly in a pool of blood. A community leader who spoke on condition of anonymity said the victim's mother lamented that her daughter had been complaining that her husband was always beating her. A female resident who did not want to be identified told Punch Metro that she sighted the suspect walking away from the house around 8 a.m. Punch Metro learned that the eldest of the couple's 4 children is only 5 years old. A member of the Women Arise for Change initiative, Obatunga Adebayo, who spoke for the president, Dr. Joe Okeo-Dumaki, called for justice for the deceased, urging women in violent relationships to quit before it was too late. He said, and I quote, "This is the reason we have been campaigning against gender-based violence. It is becoming rampant. Marriage is not by force. It is certain that before this incident happened, the woman must have been seeing signs that the man could take her life. If you are engaged in a relationship that threatens your life, you should quit." The state police public relations officer Olarinde Famous Cole said, "We are still searching for the man. The woman's corpse has been deposited in a morgue for autopsy." A 51-year-old textile dealer at Balogun Market, Taiwo Titilayo Momo, who attempted to jump into the lagoon on the 3rd Mainland Bridge, Lagos, was on Monday hauled up before the Ebutimeta Chief Magistrate's Court. According to the news agency of Nigeria, the accused, who was arraigned on a charge of attempting to commit suicide, pleaded not guilty. But the prosecutor, Sergeant Kehinde Omishaki, insisted that the accused committed the offense on March 24 at about 10 a.m. on the 3rd Mainland Bridge, Lagos. He said the businesswoman was, however, prevented by security operatives from committing suicide. The accused had been having sleepless nights since she was allegedly duped of 18.7 million naira by a bureau de change operator sometime in 2015. The offense contravened Section 233 of the Criminal Law of Lagos State 2015. The accused may, on conviction, be sentenced to a life imprisonment according to the provisions of the section. The Chief Magistrate, Mr. A.T. Elias, admitted the accused to a bail of 500,000 naira with two responsible sureties in like sum. Elias directed that the woman should be taken to a psychiatric hospital for evaluation and adjourned the case until June 1 for mention. Two armed men operating on a motorcycle on Saturday shot dead a police inspector in Ogidi, near Onitsha in Anambra, police authorities have confirmed. The Divisional Police Officer DPO Ogidi Police Station, Mr. Hassan Musa, who confirmed the incident, said the hoodlums collected the AK-47 rifle the deceased was carrying. He said that the incident occurred at about 2:45 p.m. at a police roadblock near Ugunwasike roundabout in Ogidi, where a police team was conducting stop and search. An eyewitness said that the armed men took the policeman unawares as they rode straight and shot him at a close range while he was flagging down a vehicle for a search. Other policemen who were with him took cover on hearing the gunshots while the armed men escaped, the source said. It was gathered that the incident, which happened within minutes, caused people in the vicinity, including motorists and commuters, to abandon their vehicle and scamper for safety. That was the Know Your Rights news on Know Your Rights Nigeria. I am Titilokbe Arowolo.
By the way, one of the important things that can change your life is to know your rights.
Nigerians must learn to know their basic rights and defend such rights.
Know your rights, Nigeria. Nigerians actually deserve to know their rights.
Women's rights are to be protected.
Harassment from policemen would be limited once all Nigerians know their rights.
All child rights should be protected.
Rights now my property. So therefore, you can't dash me my property. Human rights now my property.
Yes, you can now access all your rights simplified in English and Pidgin languages on Know Your Rights Nigeria mobile app. My rights at the police station, documents you need before buying a property, rights of women and child, among others. You can now access with a push of buttons in your palm. Ask our team of lawyers questions on human rights issues bothering you. Report emergency abuse of your rights to agencies like the Nigerian Police Complaint Unit, Consumer Protection Council, National Human Rights Commission, LASMA, among others, through Know Your Rights Nigeria app. Assess institutions and organizations with legal aid and enforce your rights. How? Download and install Know Your Rights Nigeria app through your Android Google Play Store free of charge. Non-Android phone users can also be empowered by visiting www.knowyourrightsnigeria.com. Know Your Rights Nigeria is a project of Constitutional Rights Awareness and Liberty Initiative Krali, with support from the U.S. Consulate General, Lagos.
Come back from the news desk, and our topic for the week is your human rights enforcement in Nigeria. Again, our topic for the week is your human rights enforcement in Nigeria. Our guest is right here, but before I bring him on, Know Your Rights Nigeria was on the streets. Let's listen to what Nigerians are saying.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's very difficult to get justice in Nigeria. I've had a few experiences where justice just became something that I didn't get. It's extremely complicated, it's difficult. The court process is extremely hard and tearful, if I must use the word. But as always, they say the court is the final arbiter of the regular man, and we have no other option than to take our cases to court if we don't want to take laws into our hands. It's extremely expensive to go to court in Nigeria because the lawyers would always want to cut your heads off with the amount they give, your bills. I remember someone very close to me going to court for over 2 years, and for each of the appearances of the lawyer in court, he spent at least 70,000 naira. If the court cases continue to get adjourned, then you can imagine how much he spent for that case. It's extremely difficult to get good lawyers. No lawyers do pro bono in Nigeria. I've not seen any. The lack of knowledge, they say, is key, and definitely ignorance is not an excuse in law. But how do I know my right is violated? Or how do I know I have to go to the court first before my right is being violated? Sometimes if you don't know these things, you just have to beat around in circles, and you have law enforcement officers, you have other people tampering on your fundamental human rights. And I don't even know if I have to go to the court first for prevention of my human rights. So if I know, then I would have to go to the court first for prevention of my human rights. That's a big no, no, no. 2 years ago precisely, myself, my friends, and a few other people had a case with some people, and not a case that should have had any fee attached to the bail, but we spent over 50,000 naira to get bail. We spent more than 24 hours behind police bars, and for that experience alone, I say bail is not free in Nigeria. Yes, I'm very much aware that a Nigerian can go to the ECOWAS court in Abuja, because in the papers a few months ago, I remember Adetokunbo, the leader of IPOB, going to court for the tampering of his fundamental human right by the federal government of Nigeria. And I think Adetokunbo, who is currently under lock and key in Abuja, can go to the ECOWAS court for tampering of his fundamental human rights. But I know myself, who is still very much free at the moment.
That was Know Your Rights Nigeria on the streets, and our topic for the week is human rights enforcement in Nigeria. Now, to thoroughly and carefully analyze this topic with me this week is a leading human rights expert in Nigeria and the executive director of the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP. I'm talking about Mr. Adetokunbo Mumuni. It's so nice to have you on the show.
It's a pleasure being here.
How is everything with you?
Fine.
Good. I'll delve straight into the question. So tell me, what are the enforceable rights in Nigeria?
If you talk about enforceable rights in Nigeria, you first of all go into the Nigerian Constitution. Okay. The fundamental human rights guaranteed by the Constitution, the civil and political rights guaranteed by Chapter 4 of the Nigerian Constitution, freedom of movement, freedom from torture, from degrading and inhuman treatment, right to speech, and all those categories of rights. Okay. Those are the types of rights that are justiciable under the Nigerian Constitution.
Okay. I mean, would you still want to break that further? I mean, when you say freedom from torture, what does that mean? So are you trying to say nobody should, you know, I mean, I just want you to tell me more about that.
If you talk about freedom from torture, we are saying that under no unjustifiable circumstance must you be treated in a manner that is contrary to human dignity. Okay. For example, nobody has a right under the Nigerian Constitution to treat another human being as if he is not a human being. You know, physical assault on the person of another, degrading and inhuman treatment from another citizen or from law enforcement agents. Those are the types of things we are talking about.
Okay, so for instance, you break the law, right? And
you see, if you look at the sections relating to fundamental human rights, at the end of that chapter 4 is a section. It is called section 46. It says anybody whose rights is about to be infringed or is being infringed can take it up by court process and ventilate his rights. So we also have exceptions to the rule that, for example, somebody that is serving a legal and legitimate imprisonment cannot complain or being subjected to inhuman treatment or torture. You understand? If you have committed an offense and there is a sentence passed by a court of competent jurisdiction saying you shall go to prison, or somebody shall go to prison for 6 months or whatever, that will be an exception to the established rule.
Okay. I think that is very simplified. So, is it true that it's difficult to get justice in Nigeria? I mean, there's lots of talks about this, that justice, trying to obtain justice in Nigeria is very difficult. Would you say this is true? This is true.
I will look at it from two basic ends. Assuming you have a dispute with an ordinary citizen, in which case you are saying the scales are equally weighed, then you can say you may have justice. But when the scales are not balanced, then you may not have justice. I'm saying, let's say, two poor men have disputes and they go through the court process. The likelihood that there will be justice will be fair to presume. But the problem of obtaining justice will start rearing its head when the scales of the contenders do not match an ordinary citizen, a extremely poor citizen, confronting a big man. Then a lot of other calculations starts coming in.
But should that be so? I mean, the reason for the law is that there should be balance, there should be fairness, there should be that concept of equality regardless of your position. So should that be so?
Technically, legally, and constitutionally speaking, there is this presumption that everybody is equal before the law. There should be free treatment under the law. There should be due process, rule of law. Those are the common basic denominators that we know that should regulate the activities of men in the society in terms of men to men, men to government. But what we see practically and the common things we see as we operate our life does not show that there is that equality before the law. For example, a poor person will lack the resources and facilities to procure a very good lawyer, whereas the moneyed man will be in an advantageous position when it comes to selecting the best lawyers. That is, you see, your right to obtain a counsel of your choice will also be limited by the resources available to you. You will have heard that Chief Williams, when he was alive, was about the best Nigerian lawyer. You will have heard that Chief J.O.K. Ajayi, when he was alive, was one of the best Nigerian lawyers. You will have heard that Gani Fawehinmi was a sound advocate when he was alive. But securing the services of those categories of lawyers would depend, for instance, on your financial wherewithal. Where you don't have that financial capability or capacity, then your right to a lawyer of your choice becomes subjective, because it is the size of your pocket that will determine the type of lawyer you get.
So what you're trying to say is that there's a gap between what should ideally be obtained with what is real. So I mean, we should actually strive at bridging that gap so that.
That is why we continue to advocate in our organization, SERAP, that the dichotomy created by the Constitution between ability to enforce civil and political rights, as contained in Chapter 4 of the Nigerian Constitution, and the other phase of socio-economic rights, where the Constitution says those ones are not justiciable, should not arise. The civil and political rights are as important as the socio-economic rights of the Nigerian citizen. So what we have been advocating is that there should be a merger of Section 2 and Section 4 so that they become equally justiciable. And when it is like that, then this gap, economic gap, between Nigerians will be reduced, between the haves and have-nots will be reduced.
Exactly. I look forward to such a Nigeria where that gap, will become as slim as possible. So, is it expensive to file for fundamental rights enforcement in Nigeria?
Let me tell you that I've been a practicing lawyer for 27 years. And when you compare the finances required to file cases, you will say on the scale of hierarchy, the filing of fundamental human rights cases appears lower in terms of the financial requirements.
We are still talking about financial requirements.
It is your economic superstructure that will determine your legal superstructure. If we have just solved the problem of economics, we won't be talking about seriously equality before the law, equal treatment of people by the law, and all those things. It does not cost quite anything, more or less, to file for the enforcement of your fundamental human rights. Yes. As a matter of fact, by the new FREP rules, which was introduced in 2009 by the then CG of Nigeria, I think it's Katsinalu now. Katsinalu. A lot of changes were introduced into the fundamental human rights enforcement rules. That says, if, for example, a poor Nigerian is the one that is complaining of a right violation, an NGO can sue on his behalf. NGO can also take up matters of general public importance. You understand? So, but on the average, it is less expensive filing for the breach of enforcement of fundamental human rights compared to other line of cases.
Yes. All right, we'll come back to talk more about this, and we'll have to go on a short break. Please stay tuned.
By the way, one of the important things that can change your life is to know your rights.
Nigerians must learn to know their basic rights and defend such rights.
Know your rights, Nigeria. Nigerians actually deserve to know their rights.
Women's rights are to be protected.
Harassment from policemen would be limited once all Nigerians know their rights.
All child rights should be protected.
Rights now my property. So therefore, you can't dash me my property. Human rights now my property.
So, my people, you fit get all your rights for simple English and pidgin language on top Know Your Rights Nigeria app. Bam! As them lawyers, if you get any wahala, any gbege, any kasala, when they disturb you on human rights matter, then they the background. You fit report the human rights matter to our government, like Nigerian Police Complaints Unit, Consumer Protection Council, National Human Rights Commission, LASMA 2, then they the level. Just enter Know Your Rights Nigeria app. If then they abuse your right and you can't need organization or people, we go help you. Na free oh yeah, kia. Download your own Know Your Rights Nigeria app for your Android phone Play Store. Na free oh. But if you not get Android phone, no shaking. Carry waka enter www.knowyourrightsnigeria.com. Know Your Rights Nigeria. Now the project of Constitutional Rights Awareness and Liberty Initiative Crowley. Now US Consulate Lagos supporter.
Welcome back from the break. So I was going to ask you, if for instance, I do not or I can't fight for my rights, is it possible for any organization to fight for my fundamental rights that's on my behalf?
Let me say this straight away. The only basis for somebody else to fight for the enforcement of your fundamental human rights will be, for instance, if circumstance prevents you from doing so. Circumstance of being somewhere in captivity. For example, a man in the house was taken away. The wife can file for her and for the husband and adduce it in the affidavit evidence that the reason why he will not be able to do it himself is because he's somewhere under locks and key, or something that has to do with fundamental human rights happens within a locality, affects a group of people. A public-spirited NGO can take it up on behalf of the community, and it will be okay.
Okay, that's a very brilliant way of looking at this, and it's fully understood. So I've also heard about Citizens Mediation Center, Office of the Public Defenders, and I'm sure there are other organizations like this. Can I go to places like this if my rights are violated at the expense of the courts?
Very well, and again, for you to be able to access the Citizen Mediation Center, one common criteria that is used in accepting your case, and for the Lagos State government through the Ministry of Justice officials to help you in it, will be proving evidence of lack of means on somebody's part. Maybe you are financially incapable. There are methods by which they judge the criteria for doing those type of cases for people. But if you are able to satisfy them, you can go there. Because there has to be evidence that you are a person of poor means. Yes.
Is it just that? Is it just that? Is it just about your financial?
That is the main criteria.
Okay. You talked about going through Lagos State, but because this program goes beyond Lagos State, I mean, is that...
There are other states that are trying to emulate Lagos State. Okay. Ekiti State, for instance.
Okay.
I don't know, Kaduna State, probably they are trying to copy Lagos State in that regard, because the Citizen Mediation Center is the government's way of saying, let's fend for the poor.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm sure this is in line with what we're talking about off camera, where you get to help citizens who do not have as much financial wherewithal. So must I wait till my right is violated before I can go to court, or can I go to court for the prevention of my violation, violation of my rights? I mean, this is you being proactive, If you envisage that something of a certain likelihood will most likely happen, I mean, I could proactively go ahead.
Thank you very much. To answer your question directly and pointedly, you can go to court if you see that your right is likely to be violated.
Yes, because I think
because section 46 makes it categorical. Whoever sees that his right is to be violated, or has been violated, or is likely to be violated, can proceed to court. Yes.
I mean, because the story that readily comes to mind is the fact that there's someone who's been out there, about her son's wedding, trying to postpone the dates for the wedding. So she's gone to the courts, because of a possible violation of her rights in the future, something in line with that.
I don't know whether this right about a wedding and all that not would qualify as a right that is capable of enforceable under the rights guaranteed in Chapter 4 of the Nigerian Constitution. Because for you to be able to go to court to enforce your rights, it must come within the ambit of those rights guaranteed by Section 4 of the Constitution. So I'm not sure whether this wedding issue will come in.
No, I mean, because, we've got limited time on this, but I'm sure if that's actually, we are actually looking to analyze that, I'm sure it actually does fall under something, but again, that's not what we are here for. So can you give us practical steps or procedures, required if a Nigerian is suing a governmental institution, for instance, say for instance, the Nigerian police force, for violation of fundamental rights? What steps, what procedures do we have to follow?
The procedure is as simple as filing an application for the enforcement of fundamental human rights. Maybe somebody was locked up unjustifiably, before 2009, you first of all apply for leave of court.
Leave of court.
It's like asking for the permission of the court to bring a fundamental human right application. Okay. But since after 2009, you go straight. Okay. You file the application straight. You don't obtain leave before you file the application. Okay. So the procedure now is as very simple compared to pre-2009 situation.
Okay. And what's the procedure now?
It's you file an application, so, a court process supported by an affidavit detailing the facts upon which you are complaining, and you file a statement, you file a verifying affidavit apart from affidavit in support, you file your legal argument in support. So it's like the procedure has only changed to the extent that you will not obtain the permission of the court before you file it now, as it used to be before 2009. Okay. Yes.
And is it same procedure, person to person or person to governmental institution? I mean, is it still...
Matter of fact, the law does not distinguish between suing an institution or suing an individual. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. So, is bail free?
The law that we know, the constitutional provision that we know says bail is free. But what we get to see when we interact with the system, you know that I can't say that bail is free. But legally, constitutional bail is supposed to be free.
Yes, I mean it's worthy. I mean, one based on your answer, right? I mean, yes, exactly. Lots of because
there are lots of angles to this. Because based on what you just said, that legally, constitutionally, bail should be free.
This is completely different from what is on
when you interact with the system, you know that it's not so.
Exactly.
So why is this so? If the constitution says bail is free and the system, on the other hand, in practical terms, says bail isn't free, so how do we create that balance? Where do we strike that balance between reality and what's in paper?
Okay, let me tell you this straight away, that the only thing that it takes for injustice, illegality to continue to thrive is for people who operate the system not to be up and doing.
Not to be up and doing.
For example, the Constitution has told us that bail is free. Mm-hmm. So even if you go for police bail and bottlenecks are being created for you, because it's not as if you will be told that bring money directly. A lot of inconveniences will be placed in your way, so that you will be the one suggesting.
That you will now be the one suggesting. Okay. Okay.
So all we need to do as Nigerians is to be serious about what the Constitution says. Okay. And insist that we want to do it the constitutional way.
That's right.
You understand? Mm-hmm. And whenever handicaps are being created in our way, we know the appropriate government mechanism or private mechanism to complain to, so that our complaint will be heard. That is the best way of doing it.
So, with Constitution deeming every suspect innocent and the common practice of the suspects being paraded, is this not a violation of their rights?
You see, the Constitution gives the press. You see, it is not the government that is inviting the press come and show the faces of people that we have accused of crime on TV. But the Constitution has given the press the right, the duty to hold government accountable. And it is in pursuance of this right that the press exercises all the powers that it exercises. Now, assuming you are paraded that you have committed an offense and you went through the process and you now got discharged and acquitted. If you really felt strong that you shouldn't have been prosecuted in the first place, you have a right to sue for false imprisonment, claiming damages against the government that are taking you through that whole embarrassing process. You understand? You have that right. So what I have seen that has happened in Nigeria is that even for people that have been taken through that process illegally, they don't resort to this right to sue for damages for the embarrassment that they've been taken through. But you cannot say it is the government that called the press.
Okay.
The press has the right to perform its functions as enshrined by the Constitution. But if you think that the process of your prosecution was unjustified, you have the right to sue.
And now, still on presumption of innocence, can the courts remand a suspect, in prison? And in some cases, which may last years, where the accused is being discharged and acquitted, where you stay in the prison, for instance, for so long a time before you're finally discharged and acquitted.
Let me tell you.
It's not injustice.
Listen, upon arrest, the Constitution says the maximum that you can ever be in detention without prosecution is 48 hours.
48 hours, that's 2 days.
Yes. If a court is within a particular radius of where you are arrested, 24 hours, the maximum wherever you are, and the court are distant, 48 hours. Now, assuming you are now arrested and kept beyond 24 hours or 48 hours, you already have a right to sue for a breach of your fundamental human rights, freedom of movement, freedom against degrading and inhuman treatment and all those things. So once it happens to you, all you simply do is, once you are released, you take it up. It doesn't mean that the fact that you have been released has taken out your right of action. Because the Constitution says any person whose right has been violated, whose right is being violated, whose right is likely to be violated, can sue. So people have to get those 3 linkages: violated in the past, being violated in the present. You understand? So that is it.
Okay. So can a police officer who battered or tortured a defenseless Nigerian be sued in his personal capacity, or must the Nigerian police, join as defendants?
Because he did what he did, wearing the Nigerian police uniform. That is why you sue him in person and then sue the Nigerian police who gave him the uniform. That's the way to go. Because that is to say all parties and all institutions are before the court.
Okay. He's not going to be sued as part of the police force. He's going to be sued both as part of the police force and as an individual. Oh, okay. So we discovered that to get court ruling, is usually one aspect. And now to get the enforcement of court orders is another very big issue. So can you educate Nigerians more on this?
You see, like every process, there are various limitations placed on it. But if you proceed to litigate, and you now obtain judgment, the next question is enforcement of judgment. The only type of judgment that people have been complaining against, which had not been enforced, is the one which you obtain against a government institution. But I can tell you that in the days of Ganifa Wemi, that strong social advocate and human rights activist, he was able to enforce judgment obtained against government and government institutions. You see, there are procedures under the judgment enforcement procedure rules made pursuant to the Sheriff Anti-Processes Act. You understand? Now, what you need to do is go through the entire process, and you will get justice if you are insistent. You see, what we normally do is to presume that nothing will happen once it is government side. But Gariba never took that position, and he was able to enforce judgment obtained against government and government institutions.
So you're encouraging Nigerians to insist.
To put for it.
So if a court has given judgment in my favor, for instance, and also awarded damages against the defendant, and the person refused to, pay me despite not appealing, the court decision, what do I do?
You pursue the process of by writ of execution of feria facas. What we mean by that is the judgment either says pay this person something or do this thing. So once you take out a writ of possession, or the writ or a writ of feria facas, you will simply fill the form, obtain the signature of the judge who gave the judgment, get the machinery of the court, the bailiffs of the court, to assist you in levying execution on the property of the defendant against whom judgment has been obtained. That's the process. Because apart from court judgment, people who have money will not want to release money. So you have to force the thing out of them.
Okay.
Exactly so.
Okay. All right. We'll be right back after this short break.
Yes, you can now access all your rights simplified in English and Pidgin languages on Know Your Rights Nigeria mobile app. My rights at the police station, documents you need before buying a property, rights of women and child, among others. You can now access with a push of buttons in your palm. Ask our team of lawyers questions on human rights issues bothering you. Report emergency abuse of your rights to agencies like the Nigerian Police Complaint Unit, Consumer Protection Council, National Human Rights Commission, LASMA, among others, through Know Your Rights Nigeria app. Assess institutions and organizations with legal aid and enforce your rights. How? Download and install Know Your Rights Nigeria app through your Android Google Play Store free of charge. Non-Android phone users can also be empowered by visiting www.knowyourrightsnigeria.com. Know Your Rights Nigeria is a project of Constitutional Rights Awareness and Liberty Initiative Crowley, with support from the U.S. Consulate General, Lagos.
By the way, one of the important things that can change your life is to know your rights.
Nigerians must learn to know their basic rights and defend such rights.
Know your rights, Nigeria. Nigerians actually deserve to know their rights.
Women's rights are to be protected.
Harassment from policemen would be limited once all Nigerians know their rights.
All child rights should be protected.
Rights now my property. So therefore, you can't dash me my property. Human rights, now my property.
You're still tuned to Know Your Rights Nigeria, and we've been speaking with Mr. Mumuni. So, we are going international now.
You're welcome.
So, you've been taking matters to the ECOWAS court on behalf of SERAP. And so I was going to ask you, can a private individual go to ECOWAS court, for instance, on matters of these human rights? I mean, it's the West African state, we are part of the West African organization of West African countries. So can I, walk up to the courts and make complaints about my rights?
You see, the constitutive act of the ECOWAS court was signed by the head of state of the West African countries, and that protocol was what gave the ECOWAS court the right, the jurisdiction to entertain cases from any citizen of West African states, any citizen. But for you to be able to make use of that platform, you have to be able to bring your case within, first, the ambit of what is contained of the rights guaranteed under the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. You see, under the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, which Nigeria ratified many years ago, the good thing about that charter is that it doesn't discriminate between economic, social and cultural rights and civil and political rights. All the rights are contained together and they are justiciable. Once you are able to bring your case within any of those rights, then you will be, as an individual, not enough SERAP, not enough organization, be able to ventilate your rights. Yes.
That's interesting.
And let me tell you one thing. One important thing about the ECOWAS court is that it is free filing. You don't pay for anything. You don't pay for any. They will serve on your behalf. Okay. You just file, and you won't pay. Yes.
That's very interesting. And how has member states of ECOWAS, I mean, of which Nigeria is a member, responded so far to the rulings of ECOWAS? What has the response been like?
Let me tell you what I know about ECOWAS courts, because I practice at the ECOWAS court level, and I've filed a lot of cases, and I've also been in court when judgments were delivered against various governments of the West African states. And you see, under the protocol establishing the West African court, part of the rules after judgment says the Attorney General of each of the West African states shall be the body to enforce any judgment obtained against any member state. And that was why in 2010...
So I just go a little further. Would you want to please explain what you just said?
You see, you have engaged the ECOWAS court process. You filed your case, you went through hearing, and judgment was obtained. Now, a particular, every state within the West African region is supposed to designate a particular government establishment as the person to approach for the enforcement of whatever judgment you obtain against any member state. In Nigeria, for instance, the Attorney General of the Federation stands in that position. And that was why, you see, you have to know the process fully.
That's right.
To be able to engage the process fully.
Exactly. That's the essence of this program.
You see, that was why when in 2009, SERAP led 10 other plaintiffs before the ECOWAS court, suing some oil companies, suing the federal government, suing the River State government. And the process ended. What we did was to write, and the judgment sum was 6.5 million naira. We did the case pro bono as we promised those people, and we had to write the Attorney General that this is the judgment of the ECOWAS court. We attach a certified copy of the judgment. And believe it or not, the Attorney General ensured that the money was paid. And when the money was paid, what we did was simply to call our clients. And they gave us the particulars of their account. And we paid directly to them. So it is not as if ECOWAS states have not been following judgments. But the truth of the matter is that some judgments, especially, I remember the case of Dasuki, which also went to the ECOWAS court, where he had applied for bail and he had been granted bail, but the government was still holding on to him. He also went to the ECOWAS and got judgment. I'm not sure that one had been obeyed. But I'm telling you that it's not as if it is every judgment of the ECOWAS court that the government has not been obeying. As a matter of fact, Benin Republic government, Ghanaian government, Senegalese government, they've been obeying ECOWAS court judgment. But one has to be familiar with the system so that we engage fully with the system after judgment.
So are there any reforms you want to suggest in order for Nigerians, or rather the Nigerian states, to get right in terms of human rights enforcement? Anything you want to suggest?
Yes. The consistent advocacy that we have been doing at every point in time when they say the constitution is to be amended, we normally write our position paper, forward it to the National Assembly, and that consistent advocacy has been, let there be justiciability of socio-economic and cultural rights for Nigerians. Chapter 4 says civil and political rights are enforceable. But Chapter 2 provides for socio-economic and cultural rights. It says they are not enforceable. I don't see, in the contemporary world, countries of the same kind like us, that were in the same position, dichotomizing between civil and political rights on the one hand and socio-economic and cultural on the other, have since left that position. South Africa has moved forward. India has moved forward. You understand? What I want the National Assembly to do is to merge what is in Chapter 2 and what is in Chapter 4, a comprehensive whole, so that they become equally justiciable. And I'm saying this because unless the economics, social and cultural rights are equally enforceable, one will find it very difficult to get Nigerians enjoy life fully and meaningfully. For example, if you say I have a right to move, if I don't have the equal right to enforce my health rights, then my right of movement will be circumvented. If you say I have a right to speech and I don't have a right to food, you understand? The hungry man is an angry man. A lot of other things will not make me to reason properly, such as to be able to enjoy effectively my civil and political right, my right to vote. If I'm malnourished, devastated by disease, it limits my capability to enjoy my civil and political rights.
So yes, so what you're trying to say is that interconnection between
Yes.
various rights, various forms of rights,
yes, socio-economic rights and political rights, they should be fused into one so that they become equally justiciable. That to me will be, that once we do that, then we'll be on the way to sound legal existence. You see, the way Nigeria is currently configured is like some citizens are just existing, they are not living.
Which is very, very unfortunate. Yes. That's very interesting. And talking about pro bono cases, I know I talked with you about this, I think off camera or so, or maybe on the show. I was going to ask, does SERAP provide pro bono legal services to the poor who have been violated?
All the cases of SERAP, all the cases that SERAP files in court, we have never received one kobo from anybody. We do it in the interest of the poor and for the betterment of the society. Yes.
That's very, very encouraging. And just before you leave, have you got any advice for those watching the program?
You see, I would advise Nigerians watching this program and hearing about this program to tune to this program, because I believe that this program is programmed for the emergence of a better, fair and legally justifiable society. And whatever they hear on this program, they should not keep it to themselves. They should spread the message that the program like this exists for the betterment of the Nigerian society.
Thank you very much for honoring our invitation.
It's a pleasure being here.
That was Mr. Mumuni, and we'll be right back.
Yes, so my people, you fit get all your rights for simple English and pidgin language on top Know Your Rights Nigeria app. Bam! As them lawyers, if you get any wahala, any gbege, any kasala, when they disturb you on human rights matter, then they the background. You fit report the human rights matter to our government, like Nigerian Police Complaints Unit, Consumer Protection Council, National Human Rights Commission, LASMA 2, then they the level. Just enter Know Your Rights Nigeria app. If then they abuse your right and you can't need organization or people we go help you. Na free oh yeah, kia. Download your own Know Your Rights Nigeria app for your Android phone Play Store. Na free oh. But if you not get Android phone, no shaking. Carry waka enter www.knowyourrightsnigeria.com. Know Your Rights Nigeria. Now the project of Constitutional Rights Awareness and Liberty Initiative Crowley. Now U.S. Consulate Lagos supporter.
You're still tuned to Know Your Rights Nigeria. Now, if you've got questions or inquiries about your rights, please feel free to forward them to any of our social network platforms whose addresses have been displayed on your screen, and our legal team will respond to you on the show. You can also watch us on YouTube on www.youtube.com/Know Your Right Nigeria. And for all you Android phone owners, you could also download and install the app from the Google Play Store. Now, this app helps simplify your rights and for us in Nigeria in both English and pidgin languages. And for me, I'll encourage you to get this app because if utilized in the right manner, it will help you develop an attitude of solidarity across issues. This is how far we can go on the program. I hope you enjoyed it. Until same time next week when I come your way again, I am Ntamegbe saying thank you for watching and goodbye.